Okay, so as usual, let's do quick mini kirtan. Hare Krishna, Amarjit Prabhu. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine. Repeat everyone.
Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami iti namani.
Namaste
Saraswati
Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi
Sunyavadi
Paschataditadini.
Sorry about the noise. Okay. Okay, so it's like this. I will sing and you all will repeat. Okay, so each line we will do twice. So this is the repeating session now, right? Namaste Saraswati Devi. Everybody, Gauravani Pracharini
Saraswati Devi
Nirvisesha
Gauravani Prakarani
Sunyavadi Paschataditadini. Okay, anybody would like to lead Panchatattva? Kala Mataji, please lead Jai Shri Krishna. Jaya Sri, like that.
Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta
Very good, Pushpa Mataji. Okay, everyone. Jaya Sri
Krishna Chaitanya
Prabhu Nityananda
Nivasadi Gaura
Bhakta-vrinda. Slow, slow, huh? Don't need to rush. Okay, Asini Mataji, ha mantra.
Yes, I waited for this.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, which tone of Mataji? There are many tones.
Your tune,
I
anything.
give my signature tone lah.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Okay, repeat everyone. Hare
Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare Rama,
Rama Rama
Hare
Hari Hari.
Okay, come on, Asini Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare Rama, Rama
Hare
Okay, one more time.
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna Hare
Hare Hare Rama, Hare
Rama Rama
Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Oh, let me give a big Haribol for that. Haribol! Wonderful. Very nice, very
Yay!
full of spirit today. Okay, Jai. Thank you, Rasini Mataji. Thank you, everyone, okay, for contributing your wonderful transcendental voice. Okay, all right. You can join me if you want to offer the prayers to the spiritual teachers. We definitely need their blessings. Okay. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Chaksurunmilitam Yena Tasमै Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Chataviri Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Hare. Okay. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
Okay. So last week we saw the same question, almost the same question. You will find, why this slide looks so similar. Okay, the question slightly only differs. Last week I asked you, if you have a doubt or question, who would you ask and why? So many of you all shared different people, okay, that you go for to solve your problems or questions. Okay, so week 3 is also when about asking questions. All right, when was the last time you inquired to find about something which you didn't know? What was it and who did you ask? So this is a bit more specific. If in the recent times you had a question and you have actually approached somebody to ask a question. So anybody have prepared something to share and something in particular? Why everybody so quiet? Okay, let me share mine. In the last 1 week, I was having lots of dilemma regarding my career due to my job change. So, and then I was like thinking, what should I do? Should I accept this or should I not? You know, and then so like that. So I called up few people like my uncle, my brother. Okay, so these are the bosses. So I wanted to know certain things from the boss's point of view. So I asked that, and then my former colleagues who left the company, you know, things like that. So these are the places that we go to gather information, and finally we come up with a decision. So tell me, in recent times, is anybody had any question, and then you asked somebody, what was it, and who did you ask? Yes, Mataji.
Because I ask questions every day.
Yeah, okay. Who do you go to?
Maybe like now I'm doing internship, right? So I do have doubts about our foundation because I'm doing internship with the NGO. It's a foundation, and when I have doubts on how to execute certain things professionally, while abiding to our foundation's guidelines, our way of conduct and everything, approach my manager who's looking after me.
Yes. So the person who's very related to the field of studies that you are, or field of working that you are
Yes.
currently in. Okay. So has anybody asked this question? Who am I to anybody in your life? Who am I? Have you ever asked this question in your life? We ask a lot of questions. Usually, remember last week we covered that our questions always covered on this 4 basic material need. Okay, eating, mating, depending, and sleeping. Okay, so have you ever asked? Has anyone asked, "Who am I?" And who did you ask that question to? What am I here for? Okay, any other? Ask that question to ourselves. Ah, all right.
I
Did you
ask
get the answer?
myself, Mataji, or sometimes when it is very sad, I look at the sky and ask.
So did you get some wahyu?
Yeah.
Did you get some answers? Lata Mataji, did you get some? Yes,
Please.
Amarjit.
Not really answers.
Your line is pretty unstable, Mataji. Rasini Mataji. So you're breaking. Okay, Amarjit Prabhu, I think I heard your voice. Would you like to say something? Or is there any other problem?
I did not unmute Mataji.
Oh,
I just
okay.
sent a message.
Okay. I thought.
But anyway, it does happen that sometimes I do ask, who am I? What am I here for? Right? And then especially when I'm doing my invocation and my prayers in the morning, afternoon, and evening. So I do ask, and then I always ask Bhagwan's guidance in whatever that I'm learning and even in my work. I do that. And then I ask a lot of questions during classes in my college. I ask students lots of classes.
You're a lecturer, Prabhu?
Yes, a lot of questions I ask. Yeah.
Okay. So before the students ask, you ask them questions.
During the starting itself, normally we have an ice breaking session, right? So whenever we have ice breaking session, it's always an interaction between both parties to get to know each other, and also we have to do a lot of recap of what we have done the previous week. So that's why lots of question and answers.
It's good. It's good. Yeah, it's a way to reinforce the understanding and the lesson learned.
Yes, correct.
Yes, very nice, Mataji. Okay, so Rasini Mataji shared, I didn't get answer, but the more I question, it is continuous learning without fixed definite answer. At least the more I ask, the more I'm open. Yes, this is why we are different from animals, because we ask questions. And looking at your questions here, it doesn't only boil down to the 4 normal activities that animals also do. So we are asking philosophical and spiritual questions. So that's why we are different from animals. Okay, so the first philosophical question that we
Can't hear anything, Mataji. You're breaking.
Okay. Now, this program, right, actually, originally, it is designed for totally newcomers, beginners, background on Bhagavad Gita, or may not. Okay, totally no background. Also, Hare Krishna, can you all hear me? So,
you got to repeat, Mataji.
okay, what I'm saying is that, what I was saying, okay, so this program actually designed for beginners, okay, newcomers, okay, the participants may not have any background in Bhagavad Gita. So this chapter, Who Am I, will be introducing the chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita. However, you all have covered this philosophy in level 1 and level 2, some of you. Okay, now, so this is not entirely a new topic for you. So it is going to be more like a refresher, but we will have some examples, and we're going to ask some questions, and you will answer based on the memory that you had in level 1 and level 2. Okay. Oh, some more. And that sometimes becomes challenging to go along with humans, because humans are ever-changing and evolving. Animals, they have fixed in nature. They become bigger, sometimes cuter, but rangai sama. Okay. All right. So when somebody asks, who are you? people without spiritual knowledge will answer, I'm an architect, I'm a pharmacist, I'm a cleaner, I'm an editor, I'm an American, I'm a Malaysian, so etc. Okay, so this is how generally people will answer. However, we want to know that we are not just an architect or teacher or a pharmacist or cleaner. Okay, we are beyond that. Okay, so we already touched this topic again at length in Gita Gyan level 1 and level 2 in chapter 2. Okay, so before that, we need to do recap. What was the topic last week?
Speak your mind.
No, that is energizer question segment. What was the topic last week? We are on the 3rd week, so I hope you all didn't forget. What was on 1st week? Human versus animals, isn't it? Okay, so the difference is that humans ask questions. What kind of questions? Philosophical and spiritual questions. Animals do not ask. Number 2, week 2.
Source of knowledge.
Source of knowledge, because when you ask question, then you have to ask question to the right knowledge, the right source. So you need to get knowledge from the right source. Okay, so recap. Are you ready? What are the sources of knowledge?
I remember number 1 was pratyaksa.
Pratyaksha. What is the translation, Mataji? What does pratyaksha mean?
Taste, hearing, sight, smell, touch, direct senses of perception.
Direct senses.
And then we had
Okay, hang on, Mataji. Wait, okay, you have given nice examples, all the 5 examples. But what is pratyaksha actually? A new person comes and asks you, Tachani Mataji, what is pratyaksha? So how do you define that?
what we don't see.
No.
We say or we don't believe. We don't see or we believe.
Okay, these are explanations.
And then the visible, like light, eyes, whether it's visible or not visible.
All right, so these are examples.
Like the sound given by a dolphin.
Direct sense perception.
Direct
Sense of perception and complete perception.
Direct sense perception. So
perception.
when somebody asks, what is ball? Ball is bola. So we should give that kind of meaning first, and then we can explain. It is round. When you kick, it will roll. Okay, so this is how we explain. So pratyaksha means direct sense perception, and Tachayani Mataji has beautifully explained all the 5 sense perceptions, all the 5 working senses, okay, and the limitations. All right. Okay, very good. Thank you, Mataji. What is next source of knowledge?
Anumana.
Anumana.
What is anumana?
Anumana. Inference.
Inference. What other words that we covered?
Hypothesis.
A more layman term.
Hypothesis.
Okay, what else? What
speculation.
Speculation. Okay, anumana. The 3rd one is, I already revealed the Sanskrit word, but what is in English?
Sabda. Hearing.
Hearing. Okay. Now, in the pratyaksha and anumana, because we wanted to, our aim last week was to find out what is the best source of knowledge. These are all the sources of knowledge available, and we found out what is the best source of knowledge. So to find that out, we have to find what are the disadvantages or weaknesses in other source of knowledge. Now we found there are 4 defects under pratyaksha. Somebody can keep an eye on the mic, please. So please mute. Pratyaksha, what are the defects with pratyaksha? What is the problem with pratyaksha? What's the problem with direct perception? Why we can't believe what we see? Why we can't believe what we hear? What is the problem here? People say seeing is believing, so why we can't believe when we see?
Is it an imperfect senses?
Perceptions.
We cannot have
imperfect senses because our... Yes, Roja Mataji, you saying something?
We cannot have complete understanding by perception only. Can you hear me?
Yes, remember the blind man, right? The 6th blind man. Okay, everybody has their own perspective. Is it my line or Roja Mataji's line? I think I'm breaking. Is it everybody's having problem with the line? Okay, so imperfect senses. Now we move to the second defect.
To be illusionate.
It can be in any order, so no problem.
Illusion.
Mistakes.
Commit.
To be
Or
illusion.
fancy, to cheat.
Okay, to be illusion. Okay, for example, remember the stick in the water, the straw in the water, and then the mirror. Okay, all right. Senses are limited. It can't perceive the unlimited. Very good. Okay, so we can't even see things are beyond certain kilometer. All right, so materially also we cannot perceive a lot of things. So to be illusion. Next, when you have imperfect
Commit
senses
mistake.
and you have
Committing
tendency to be
mistakes.
illusion, what do you tend to do? Yes, commit mistakes.
Then you have cheating, propensity. Yes.
Pushpa Mataji, can you repeat that? The line was breaking.
I think it's cheating, propensity.
Yeah, okay, so you're saying the last one, yes, cheating propensities. And because we have all these things, we cannot possibly get the knowledge in full. We may get some knowledge to a certain extent, some perspective, some angles, but not the entire truth. Therefore, we have come down to the best source of knowledge, which one is the best of the three?
Sabda. Hearing.
Sabda, hearing. Yes, right. So hearing from what or who?
From a bona fide authority who is free from
Yes, bona fide authority. Yeah. So the most important and bona fide authority are the Vedas. Why Vedas? What is so special about Vedas? Why not man-made scriptures? Normal scripture written by me or you or our neighbors.
Vedas are Apurusha.
Apaurishaya. What is Apaurishaya?
Well, actually, it is the unique.
What is Apaurishaya?
I'm seated in everyone's heart, and from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness.
Okay, that is
15.5.
yes, that is establishing, that verse is establishing the supremacy of Vedas because it is given directly by Krishna. However, now I want to ask, why is Veda so special? Okay, one is Krishna gave, all right? So what is that characteristic that Vedas have that the normal other books they don't have? So just now, Prabhu mentioned Apaurishaya. What is this term, Apaurishaya? Oh, it's so bombastic. We use Sanskrit words. But we need to understand, we need to translate it for people who are not well versed in Sanskrit.
Well, because it's Bhagavan himself compiled the whole Vedas and all.
Yes. Apaurishaya means non-human, okay, or superhuman, or okay. So it is not given by a human. So that is called Apaurishaya. Opposite is Purusha. Okay. Now,
another sense that means Parasha is also can be God, given by Krishna. Correct.
Yeah, correct. Yes, very good, Mataji. Now, accepting Vedas, what kind of belief is that? What kind of faith is that? There were two kinds of faiths we saw last week.
Blind faith
Or
reasonable faith.
Yeah, so accepting Vedas are what kind of faith?
Reasonable faith.
Reasonable faith. Why?
Does it produce results?
Yes, you can verify the results. What is the other important term? There were two, right? Actually, there were more.
Sensible.
Sensible. Okay. Anybody remembers the other 4 points under the reasonable faith? It should be
Credentials, reputation.
yeah. Can you repeat that, Prabhu? Can you please repeat that?
Sensible, credit.
Credentials, reputation, credibility,
Yeah,
diagnosis.
Rasini Mataji, can you please write it down? You are the secretary. Amarji Prabhu, could you please repeat that?
It is credentials, and then reputation, credibility, and also diagnosis.
Authenticity.
Yes. So something that is some knowledge on spiritual elements aspects, it should have all these characteristics. You should be able to verify all these things. You should be able to verify the credentials, the reputation, the authenticity. Yeah, but Tachayani Mataji, you mentioned something else also.
Same thing, credibility, diagnosis, and all that. I also wrote down.
No. Diagnosis is under the Anumana. I was explaining that under Anumana. Okay, so I think we pretty much covered that. So we will move on. Okay, thank you for everybody for recapping that. Okay, so this is generally the framework of today. Now, let's watch a video, okay? And who likes Oprah? Oprah Winfrey. Let's hear what she has. She's got to interview somebody.
As a young child, Sarah says she was so afraid of fires, she kept a bag with her favorite dolls under her bed, ready for a quick escape. She was brought back to her past life to find out why she'd been so afraid of fire. Why were you so afraid of fire?
Well, I saw myself, I was a young girl, I was about 11 or 12, younger than I am now, and I lived in a farmhouse about 100 years ago, and I saw myself getting up one night, and I felt there was smoke in the air, and I was panicked. I was on the second story of a farmhouse. I ran out into the hall, and the only escape from the house would be down a staircase. It was down the staircase to the front of the house, and it was covered with flames. I saw flames crawling like up the banister and on the wall and on the floor, and I was completely panicked. And my first reaction was to find my parents. So I ran across the hall into my parents' bedroom, and by the time I got in there, I had run through flames to get through there, and my nightgown had caught on fire. I dropped on the floor to try to put it out, and I looked around. My parents weren't in there. I felt frustrated. I was panicked. I was thinking, why didn't they get me out? Why didn't they try to help me? I knew that I couldn't get out. I felt that I was choking. And then I think at that point I passed out. I don't remember anything more.
So this is why you feel now you had such a fear of fires.
I
now,
think so.
Being regressed and recalling this other life where you apparently died in the fire?
Yes.
Did that now make your certainly understanding of why you had the fear? Did the fear then go away?
Yeah, it did. I unpacked my bag from under my bed.
With your dolls?
Yeah, I wasn't afraid of it anymore. And I had such a fear that if I saw a fire on movies, I'd go into hysterics and I'd cry. And I haven't had problems with that since. So I think it really helped. Whatever it was, it helped.
Now I wanted to ask you, having been regressed, recalling a past life, does it make you fear death less?
Well, from what I saw, death, it was over quickly, and it was probably 30 seconds of panicking and being afraid, but then it was over. I remembered looking down on the house, and once I had died, I just felt there was no pain. It was kind of a relief. So, yeah, I guess I'm not as afraid of death. If that's what it's like, that's what it really is like. It was painless.
Hi, YouTubers. I'm excited to give you an update about our own YouTube channel. Now,
so,
as a young child, Sarah.
So what do you think? What do you think of this? Who wants to say something about this? So what happened here? What happened to that girl? Yes, Rasini Mataji. You want to say something? I saw Yomi. So what happened to the girl? She had a vision. She had a vision that she died in a fire. Okay, and then she basically what happened was that she died in 1894. Okay, 1894, and she is born about 100 years later. Okay, so and that she can remember how she died. Okay, which means that she appeared again, she took birth again. So what happens is that this is called reincarnation. Yes, Lata Mataji, this is reincarnation, rebirth or reincarnation. So this proves that something has been transferred from that 100 years ago. Now that she is now in the modern world now, something has transferred and she can remember that. So what happened? All right. So this is a proof of This is one of the many proof that reincarnation exists. Okay, so we have covered this in level 1, okay, and level 2. Okay, so we have two pictures here, a guy and a car. Okay, now this is the discussion part. I want any one of you to share the similarities in these two pictures. Okay, what I understood is that she had a vision that she died very long ago in a fire accident. Then fast forward now to now, she's afraid of fire. She's afraid of fire. Rupa is linked to her past life, the way she died. Okay, to her, it's like taking another bus and coming. Okay, so she says she's not afraid of death, but she's afraid of fire. Okay, so now let's come to this slide. Can some of you share what's the similarity between these two pictures?
Mataji, I don't see any slide.
Hey, really?
Yes.
Anybody else cannot see?
I can see.
Yeah, I can see. Invisible driver.
Yes. I think that line is acting up in many levels today. Okay, who can see? Please share. What is the similarity here?
Here, a person with a necktie, a young man, and a car Uber written. Is that the one?
Yes, it's a car. Yes, Uber. What is the similarity?
Forms. They have forms.
They have forms, all right. What else? What else?
Something funny, Mataji.
No.
Good looking man and good looking car.
Oh my God, yeah. That's nice. I got this in my last class. Both also good looking.
Is it a man with necktie driving a Uber?
No. Similarities. Okay, both are good looking. Okay, I agree that. Both have form. Okay, fine. Come on, use your knowledge.
But I don't see anybody driving the vehicle.
Okay.
That's what I see, because the Uber, the car is there. There was no driver.
Okay.
One is
What else?
human and one is matter.
One is human, one is matter. Actually, both also matter.
There's no one in the car driving it. It's an invisible driver.
Okay, invisible driver.
Invisible driver is Bhagavan.
Okay. I'm not getting the things that I want to hear. Come on, try.
Both the car and the man are like in their prime life. It's not old. They are young.
What else?
Both are complex.
Both are
complex. I don't know.
Complex. Okay, so the topic is, it says an invisible driver. So how do you relate driver to these two?
Mobility, yeah.
Mobility. Okay, apa lagi? Okay, let's step one step higher. Okay, let's go one step higher. So let's go a little spiritual. Materialistic. The guy is well dressed and car is luxury. Okay, so this is all material perspective. So let's go a little higher. Push your limit a little higher.
Both are creation of God, is it?
I think it's even though the person has this beautiful car and is sitting behind and there's somebody is driving, but that doesn't make him the driver. The invisible driver is still God. God decides when and where, how you go.
One with soul and one without soul.
Yeah,
Two difference. That one is difference already. Similarity.
You say
similarity.
Yes, similarity. You're talking about mobility. Okay, yes. What are they? What do they do? What are they actually? This human body, the car.
You can have how much expensive car, you can have a well-dressed person, a handsome person. And then one day.
Mataji.
Is one with profession.
Good looking.
One is conscious and
one is unconscious.
Okay, that is difference. I want similarity.
Good.
Similarities.
Amarjit
Mataji.
Prabhu, do you ask this kind of question to your student?
Good,
No.
good looks and luxurious life are all Maya.
Oh, okay, too high level already. Too high level. Come, one step. Yes, yes.
All are movable.
Both can
Both
be physical, the body of the man
Okay, Param Prabhu, can you speak louder?
both can be clinical.
Both
Body
are
of
physical.
the man and body of the car.
Oh,
Both
can you repeat that, Prabhu?
both can be clinical.
Both can be
Traveling.
vehicle. Wow, very good.
Both can be what?
Both can be vehicles. Okay.
Oh, both can be very.
Okay. To start with, both are machines. Yeah, Lata Mataji, you're right. Both are functioning. Yeah. Both are machines. Both need.
Ada jiwa.
If you have a machine, what do you need to get it run?
Mataji,
Betul lah.
you will.
You're not wrong.
Few.
Lata Mataji?
No, I don't know. I couldn't hear. I thought you're lagging.
Yeah, you're lagging.
One needs the brain and the heart to function. The car needs the engine to function. That's the only difference. One is motor, spare part. One is human. God has to give. Either he stops, the heartbeat stops, that's it. You become a vegetable.
Both need oxygen.
Both need energy. Both need energy.
Both need oxygen to work.
Both need oxygen. Car need oxygen ke, Prabhu?
Otherwise won't burn. Fuel won't burn without oxygen.
Okay. Now I install engine inside the car, and then I pour the fuel. Apa lagi? Everything I put. Okay, so is that sufficient to get the car running?
Driver.
Yeah.
Has got petrol.
Okay, so I install the heart and brain, everything for this human. Can he run? Can he function?
Yes.
Is that sufficient?
No.
He needs air.
He needs somebody to guide him.
Direction.
He needs brains.
Brain. Okay, he has brain, he has heart.
But
Is that sufficient?
Needs sensors made people to drive the driver.
He needs the knowledge to drive. He needs the.
No. Okay, now we are talking about human. Okay, so let's say I put brain, I put the kidney, I put the heart. Is that okay for him to function?
He needs a teacher.
Need energy.
Okay.
He
He
needs
needs-
energy and knowledge.
He needs intellect.
Soul. He
Intellect.
must have
So you are saying with
soul.
all the organs, brain,
He needs soul.
heart. Who is that? Say that again.
soul, spiritual part.
Yashoda Priya
He
Mataji,
needs
hang
soul.
on. This is my new students class. I will come to you when nobody answers.
I also don't know. I try to guess also.
Sabar. Okay, so human needs soul to function. How about the car? How the car function? I give fuel, I give the engine, everything I put in. So how the car will move?
Also need
Start
driver.
driving. Put the key.
Forgot. Sorry.
Okay, who will put the key? The key takkan masuk sendiri kan?
Still need a human being.
We need a human being. So the human body is a machine, just like the car is a machine. The human body functions if there is a soul inside it, and the car will function if there's a driver inside it. Question. Soalan cepu mas. How do you explain? Itulah very senang.
And the person has soul.
I want to ask a difficult question. How about a driverless car? So how?
And
Tesla lah.
Remote control.
So how?
Tesla pilot mode.
Night Rider. I don't know about Tesla, but I know Night Rider.
Good.
Okay. So who's using this? Who has exposure to this driverless car, this kind of auto cars? How do you explain that?
Tesla have.
How, Prabhu? How the car moves?
You still need computer to be
Yes,
programmed.
a computer.
Yes, correct. Somebody has to input or program or put some coding inside there so that it will move. It doesn't magically happen. So like that, this is another similarity. Yeah? The human body function when there's a soul, the car function when there's a driver. Even if it is driverless, it needs somebody to put in some things inside for it to function. Okay, what else? So now let's talk about organs lah. What you have on this guy's face and on the car.
Needs a computer.
Okay, so we passed the computer already. Param Prabhu, you said something.
No.
No? Okay. Both need eyes. Okay, so for humans, he has that eyes. For the car, what is the eye?
Senses.
The front light.
Yeah, the front lights. Okay, both need moving instruments, hands and legs, and for the car,
the guy has legs, the car has tire.
yeah, the 4 wheels. Okay, and then somebody was correct earlier. Both need fuel. One needs water, one needs petrol. Okay, so very good. A man needs mouth to speak. The car,
Beep beep.
Horn.
yeah, horn to sound. Okay, eyes to see and then headlights to see. Okay, heart to pump blood and the radiator to supply water. Okay, hands and legs to move and 4 wheels to move. Okay, very easy. Yeah, these are all very easy. Okay, so this is the invisible driver inside the car and the human. You cannot see, but something is. Okay, I'm so disturbed with the mic. Somebody's mic. Lata Mataji, please take care. Okay. All right, so if you're very confident your environment is silent, then yes, you can have your mic unmuted because you may want to respond to the questions. However, if you're moving a lot, then you have to mute yourself, okay? Okay, so there is something inside these two machines that make it move. Otherwise, they cannot move. They'll become lifeless and useless. All right, so that is the invisible driver. Okay, what's next? Okay, a car cannot budge 1 inch without the driver. Similarly, the body cannot function without the driver. Okay, so like I said, without the soul, the machines are useless and lifeless. So there are general proof of existence of the driver. So, okay, thank you. Now, when we see somebody has passed away, we will say, "Ayo, poitane," like that. Oh, he's gone. So what has actually gone? He's just there. The body is there, the legs there. He's just there in full peace. He's there. So what is actually gone?
The soul.
So when he say "Ayo, poitane," that means something has gone. He's still there. So we are referring to a living force that has left the body. All right, and then there is this reference: my watch, my tie, my coat, my shirt, my body. We don't say I body. So what is that my? What is this my? We don't say I nose, I mouth. We say my mouth, my nose. So who is that my? That means you can see that this body belongs to something else. Okay, you are not the body belongs to something else, and that something else is the soul. Okay, so this one we covered in chapter 2 already. And then we have evidence like this, near-death experience, outside body experience, reincarnation. So all these substantiate the fact that the soul moves from body to body. Okay, so all this information is available on the internet. It's not something new. Okay, and in Vedic, we have a strong philosophy on this. And recent times, we have evidences like interviews, and you can read on the net. All right. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the driver inside this human body. All right. And like we mentioned, we have to derive information from reliable sources of knowledge. So the source of knowledge for today's topic is the Bhagavad Gita, which was given by Krishna to Arjuna in the form of sabda, hearing. Okay. In the beginning, all the Vedas, information about the Vedas were cascaded down from guru to disciple to disciple to disciple in the form of a sound vibration, because that time the memory is super good. People can remember everything. How later it became when the yuga progresses, actually degrades, people were losing memory. So therefore Vyasadeva, he actually split one Veda. Initially the Veda was one, he split into 4, and he given it to his disciples, and the disciples has given commentaries and broken it down further for it to be easily assimilated by people. Okay, so that's how initially it was given through sabda. Okay, that's why it's called shruti. Okay, so this is called hearing from authority, sabda pramana. Okay, now more speaking coming up. We have 3 or 4 slokas from chapter 2, very important slokas. The knowledge and understanding of the nature of soul is very condensed in these 4 slokas. Okay, so I want to ask questions. I'm sure you are familiar with these pictures and slokas. This Dehinosmin Yata Dehe, these are like ABCs of Bhagavad Gita. This is like Twinkle Twinkle and Baba Black Sheep of Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so it's very one of the first and foremost knowledge that Krishna gave Arjuna. Okay, I would like somebody to read the English. Who has not spoken today? Come on, let's hear your voice. Janani Mataji, is it convenient to read?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. Now, can somebody give me 1 point from here on your own understanding from this sloka? Okay, just to translate that, embodied soul means the soul that has taken body. Okay, so that is embodied soul. So first is continually passes in this body. How does it do that? How does it do that? How can a soul passes in this body? Shanti Mataji. Mataji, are you there?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. So what do you
I
think?
need to ask Lord Brahma these questions.
Hey, Bhagavad Gita has the answer. Actually, the answer is there already in the verse. It's a Isita Surat only.
Isita Surat.
Yeah.
The soul similarly passes into another body at death.
So how the soul passes in this body? How does the soul assume changes?
There will be 4. The cycle is like from birth, and then there's disease, old age, and then death. So when the body dies, then the soul takes another body, depending on karma. Will have a body in maybe other planets or this planet, or even in other species. Yeah.
Very nice, Mataji. So you have actually advanced to the second part of the sloka, where the soul transfers to another body at death. Now, how does the soul changes in this present body? Anybody else? Or shall I call name? Guna Mataji. No, Guna Mataji is my senior student. Cannot ask. Kasthuri Mataji. Can I ask you a question? Is it convenient to speak? No. Kaya Mataji, are you able to speak? Hey, nobody there. Mariamma Mataji. Saras Mataji, you have 2 names here. I need to rename one of you. Saras Mataji, now that you have unmuted yourself, can I rename you?
So I'm comfortable because the other Mataji is also SK and I'm also SK.
Okay, how do I call you then? Saras.
I'm comfortable with Saras.
Okay, your initial. You have initial different, right?
Yeah, SK. My initial is Saraswati Karupaya. Hers is Karupanan.
Okay, I write here, Mataji. How Saras 1 is it?
Oh, you put Saras K, that should be okay.
Okay, Saras K will be you. The other Mataji is Saras. Okay, I think I'll do that. Okay, Saras K Mataji, what do you think of this first line? How does the soul changes in this body? So just now Shanti Mataji mentioned that soul goes to another body when it dies. So before that, how the soul changes in this body?
In this body from babyhood, it takes different stages of growth. Then finally it is generating, and then it is degenerating, going back to the crawling stage when you're too old to move and beg.
Yes, so our body goes through various changes from baby to youth to old age. So we cannot say, oh, when I was a baby, I was a different person. Now I'm a different person. In future, I'm going to be totally a different person. No, the soul is transferring. The body is changing, but the soul is there. It's the same person until we die. Okay, so it doesn't change. So this is the meaning of the first part of the sloka, the explanation. The second is, as explained by Shanti Mataji, based on the karma, we take another birth. We can even take different species of lives. Okay, so a person who knows and understands and realizes this fact and philosophy, he is not bewildered by such a change. Okay, for example, the girl, Oprah asked the girl, so are you now that you can say that you have less fear of death? Then she said, yes, it seems like it's suddenly becomes pain-free. So if that is that, then I'm not afraid, because for her, it's just like a changing destiny, changing body. Okay. Okay, no problem, Marina. Understand. Okay, so that's one. Okay, so these are the information that we obtain through Sabda Praman from Krishna. So Krishna is saying, you are not the body, you are the soul. Okay, and this chapter 2 is all about the knowledge of the soul. Okay, just because we don't remember how we were when we were small, doesn't mean that our babyhood did not exist. Okay, the body has changed. Okay, all right, so let's move on to the next one.
Excuse me, Mataji.
Yes, Yamuna Mataji.
As you said, the soul ages, is it?
No, the soul doesn't age. The soul remains the same. The body changes.
So from boyhood to youth to old age?
Yes.
The soul remains.
The soul remains the same. Are you a different person when you were younger, when you were youthhood?
Yeah.
When you were schooling?
Yeah.
You were
totally different.
Did you change your name from something to Yamuna?
No. You know, because you have this kind of things where sometimes when a child is very mature and then say, oh, you inherited an old soul kind of thing, you say. So I was thinking, whether is there a connection, you know, sometimes they are mature or they talk like adults, you know, sometimes say, oh, you know, oh, you have inherited an old soul, someone who is pious at a young age, those kind of things like that. There are so many.
I understand what you're saying. And this is explained in Bhagavad Gita as well. We will see one sloka later, and some we have covered in chapter 6, where Arjuna will ask those who have done certain yogic processes and they fail, what is their destination? Okay, so Krishna will give 2 destinations. So that is chapter 6. I will not go to the chapter 6, but the chapter 2, I will explain later because the verse is coming. All right, good question, Mataji. However, even if the child is born with a very so-called the matured soul with lots of information compared to his peer, he will still remain the same A until he grows. Okay? He doesn't change anything. The soul remains the same. If she is Yamuna, then forever she's going to be Yamuna. Okay, so that is the understanding here. They may have mature they do seem like they are totally different person, like 10 years ago, and 10 years fast forward, you're totally different person. But that is just like a what you call the emotion, psychological development, a personal growth. Okay, not a change of the soul. Okay, so a sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Okay. Okay, welcome, Mataji. Okay, so we will not touch this. Okay, I hope you all remember this story where the person who bought the parrot and took care of the cage so nicely, but neglected the parrot, did not feed it, the parrot died. Okay, why? Because the person only taken care of the vessel, but not the living force inside it. So like that, many times, many people, they take care of the externals, but they ignore, they forget to nourish the soul. So that is the explanation.
Oh, Mataji,
Okay,
another and
yes.
sorry to interrupt again. That the line, the last line, the previous
Okay.
line, the last line.
Hmm.
Because since you say this is a very ABC sloka, so I want to find out. So
Can.
a sober person is not bewildered by such a change, meaning that like knowing this, you will not lament.
Yes.
Over someone who has passed on.
Yes.
Is that the message?
Yes, that's right, Mataji. And we do not fear for it ourselves.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, because it's just another stage. So we have to be prepared. Right?
Thank you.
Yeah. Will not be bewildered by such a change. Okay, thank you, Mataji. Consciousness is the difference between the living and dead bodies. Okay, so let's have somebody to read. Can we have somebody to read? Or we need to speed up, yeah? Yeah, half an hour we need to go. Amarjit Prabhu. The English will do.
I read Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Amarjit Prabhu, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, Prabhu.
That which pervades the entire body, you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul.
Okay, so this is the characteristic of soul. It is indestructible and imperishable. Okay, look at that word consciousness. Okay, consciousness means a symptom of soul. How do you know the person has a soul in his body? You see him moving, talking, thinking, functioning. So that is the symptom of the soul. Okay, how do you know the person is alive? He has consciousness. So how do you know if he has a soul? He has a consciousness. So consciousness is the symptom of the soul present in the body. Okay, if anybody asks what is the symptom of presence of soul, means that person has consciousness. Okay, can feel something, right? So that is consciousness. Okay, again, this was covered in level 1 already. Okay, I'm going to give you a little extra information from Upanishads. Okay, these slides are not originally in your material, so I'm just adding in on because we have covered these previous lokas in level 1, level 2, so I wanted to give you something new. Now, you have to understand that information in Bhagavad Gita is the cream, is the essence, it's a summary. Okay, it's a trailer. Okay, if you want to know more, then you have to go back to all the Vedas in the big, huge tree that I shared in the group. Okay, for those who have no time to read all that, then you can just read Bhagavad Gita, come to one conclusion. And if you think you have so much of time, then you can read all of that and come to the same conclusion. Okay, that is why it is said the Bhagavad Gita is the cream of all Vedic literature. And sometimes Prabhupada will say that this information is given in summary form in Bhagavad Gita. And if you want to know more, then you have to read these Upanishads. So like that, we have seen that the characteristic of soul has been summarized here. That is indestructible, it is imperishable. Okay, now there are 2 Upanishads that speaks about the soul. One talks about the size of the soul, one talks about the location of the soul. Okay, so I wanted to expand that. So let's have somebody to read this for us. The English will do. Rajina Mataji, would you like to read? No.
Okay.
Okay, no problem. Param Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Translation: when the upper tip of a hair follicle is divided into 100 parts, and again each part is further divided into 100 parts, each such part is the measurement of the dimension of the spirit soul.
Okay, Prabhu, can you explain to us? I don't understand what this verse is saying.
You take a hair follicle, divided into 100 parts, then take that, the 100 parts take 100, right? Take one piece and then divide it into another 100 parts. That is the size of the spirit soul.
Yes, very good. So yeah, that is the size of the soul, like the tiniest, tiny atom. Yeah. Elsewhere, Prabhupada explained. I think in Chaitanya Charanamrita. That's why that one I did not put it in. Prabhupada said it's even smaller than that atom. The things, the atom in the things. So you can't possibly see with bare eyes or the microscope. And there is another reason why we cannot see it is because it is spiritual. It is not material. We can't see. All right. So this one, Svetasvatara Upanishad says the dimension of the soul. So please remember, if anybody asks what is the size of the soul, then you know where to go. Quickly open this PDF and show them, look, I have. And this is from the Vedas.
Okay. 1/10,000.
Yeah. So Pushpa Mataji,
10,000.
I saw you calculating with your calculator.
1/10,000 of the tip of the hair.
Okay, to get the tip of the hair itself is a big task. So you have to divide that to 100 and then you divide that further to 100. Okay, so the soul is situated. This one I will.
The region of the heart.
Region of the heart. Yeah, why is it not in the heart? What happens?
Region of the heart.
Oh, it's not in the heart. That's why when you transplant the heart, you don't change the identity of the person. It's the region of the heart. Okay, so now the presence of that tiny, okay, Mike noisy. Okay, all right. So this presence of this such a tiny particle of that, due to that presence of the such a tiny particle, it makes the complex machine of the body works. Okay, it makes the gigantic body of elephant work as well as the tiny body of an ant. Okay, what is tinier than that? Amoeba. Okay, so all this has soul. So the same size of the soul is present in the body of a huge elephant, and the same size of the soul is present in the tiniest living creature. Okay, so when the soul leaves the body, it is called a dead body. Okay, so a question may arise: if the soul is in the body, why we cannot see? We have the super sophisticated and advanced technology. Why can't we see the soul? Because the soul, one, is too small. It cannot be perceived, cannot be conceived. Our senses are imperfect. Okay, we cannot see things that are too small or even too big. We can't see things that are very near. We can't see things are very far away. Also, we can't see. Okay, the ears cannot hear the sounds that cross a particular decibel limit. So we have certain limitations. Okay, so these are the considerations that we can't see due to this facts that we can't see the soul with our naked eyes. Next is Mundaka Upanishad. This is Svetasvatara Upanishad. This is Mundaka Upanishad. Let's see what Mundaka Upanishad is speaking about soul. Saras Mataji. Not Saraske, Saras Mataji. Mataji, you are there?
Yes.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
The soul is atomic in size and can be perceived by perfect intelligence. This atomic soul is floating in the 5 kinds of air: prana, apana, vyana, samana, and udana, is situated within the heart and spreads its influence all over the body of embodied living entities. When the soul is purified, I cannot see, from the condemnation of the 5 kinds of material, its spiritual influence is exhibited.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Mataji. So this is the evidence where the soul is situated. It's in the region of the heart. And it also says that that is floating in the 5 kinds of air. Okay, so for the soul to attain its original constitutional position, okay, the actual influence to be exhibited, then it has to shed that elements, that 5 kinds of air. Okay, so material means it's made of matter like earth, water, fire, air, and sky. So that is soul. It is covered by a 3 layers. Okay, I'm going to pause until my connection comes fine. Okay, so soul, subtle body, and then gross body. I will show you the diagram later, but I'm sure you have already seen it in level 1. Okay, so this is a reason why the spirit soul, as long it is being covered by these layers, it cannot exhibit the actual power of the soul, and it cannot go back to the spiritual world where it came from. All right, now let's move on to this next sloka, 2.22. This speaks further about the soul's nature. What does the nature? What does the soul do? All right. I saw V. Lata Mataji. Can you read for us?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Okay. As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones.
Okay, thank you, Mataji.
Welcome.
So, how many dresses a soul can change? Where are my students from level 1? How many dresses the soul has? It can choose from. Do you know we can choose our body? And
100,000.
8.4 million.
Yeah.
If where this is the other species, human form is 400 over.
So is it a must that we should only go to human body next time?
All depends on your karma.
Yes, so which means we have 8.4 million species of dresses that we can choose from, out of which humans are 400,000. Okay, so we have ample of choices. How do you want to shape your life, and you can choose your body in your next life. Okay, so just like we change our dress, the soul changed the dress. The dress is this body. So it can come in different forms, different size, different colors. Okay, so this one also we already covered in level 1. Basically, the soul changes body like we change dress. Just like we discard old clothes, the soul discard the body when it's not useful anymore. Okay. We have more characteristic of soul. Can we have somebody to read these, please? Who has not read yet? Anybody would like to volunteer?
I read, Mataji.
Okay, Roja Mataji.
Characteristic of soul. The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. This individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble and can be neither burned nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body.
Okay, so thank you, Matthew. So it shows that the soul cannot be touched. You cannot destroy the soul. Okay, what is being destroyed is the body. The person that we are attached to, that person will be moving on. Okay, only the body they are shedding. Okay, so these are all the characteristics of soul. So please try to remember where you can find this information. You may not be able to remember all these terms, but you get the understanding that you can look at the picture. Okay, it is waterproof, it's fireproof, it's cutting proof, it's breaking proof, drying proof, wind proof, and you can't be seeing that using a microscope. And this is what is this? 10,000. Just now Pushpa Mataji calculated and told
Yeah,
us.
the hair follicle, right?
Yeah, the size of the soul, the dimension of the soul. So
Dimension of the soul.
yes, why this picture is here? Because it says here, invisible, inconceivable. So we can't see and we cannot comprehend how big is that, how small is that. Okay, so this is the size. So try to remember this picture. So at least, when you want to talk about soul to somebody, then you can remember this picture. Oh, you cannot wet the soul with water. You cannot burn it. Okay, if the soul is it's not fireproof, then the girl would not be speaking to us in the interview. So which means the fire only destroy the body, but not the soul. Okay, now this is an interesting one. This is from chapter 15. Okay, chapter 15. Pushpa Mataji. Can you read for us, please, Mataji?
The living entity in the material world carries his different conceptions of life from one body to another. As the air carries the aromas, thus he takes one kind of body and again quits it to take another. The living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, eye, tongue, nose, and sense of touch, which are grouped about the mind. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Mataji. So earlier, Tachani Mataji, you asked a question, right? Okay, this is how our previous memories or impressions will be carried forward to the next slide. Okay, now look at this picture. Hang on. Okay, you see this soul here. Okay, somebody's mic, please. Okay, look at this soul. So the soul is covered by intelligence, mind, ego. What do you call these three layers? Anyone? What do you call this? Ego, mind, intelligence. Actually, this false ego. Huh? False ego, mind, and intelligence.
Body.
Is it the gross body?
It's named subtle body.
Subtle body.
Oh, okay. I need to recap that then. What is gross body?
Earth, water is written there.
Can you give me in a simple term? I like to be simple. What is gross body?
Physical body.
Yes. Means what? You can touch, you can feel, you can feel. This is your gross body. Now, beneath that, above the soul, you have what? What do you have?
Gross body, then what is
intelligence?
Intelligence, mind, and false ego. What are they? What do they make? What do they make?
The subtle body?
Yes, subtle body. So there's gross body, there's subtle body, and there is the spirit soul. Okay. Oh, the mic. So soul, subtle body, gross body. So remember this, huh? The spirit soul is the original spirit soul that comes from God. Okay, as it comes into the contact of material nature, it develops these three subtle layers. Okay, it's called subtle body. And then after that, you get a gross body according to our impressions, desires, and everything. When we die, we will shed this blue. Earth, it's made of earth, water, fire, air, ether. All this body that you are touching now, it's made of these 5 elements, Panchabhuta. Okay, so when you die, you let go this body. And you still have your subtle body around your soul. This is called subtle body. Okay, So until your body, if let's say you die prematurely, your body is not ready, then you have to hover around in this subtle body. Okay, now let's go back to this. Okay, so the living entity carries different conception of life from one body to another. So let's say I develop certain impressions, certain desires, certain activities. So all these things, actually what I'm doing is I'm preparing for my next body. We are actually deciding what we want in the next body. Let's say I enjoy eating. So there is a body being prepared to enjoy, for me to enjoy eating. Okay, so when the body is complete, this is explained by His Holiness Banu Maharaj. When the body is complete, then we will throw this body, we will get that new body. It could be human, it could be animal, it could be plants, we don't know. Okay, so whatever actions, whatever thoughts that we have right now, it's going to help us, okay, help us, or it's going to influence us to form our next body based on our hankering, our lamentations, our desires, our thoughts, our actions, everything. Okay, so usually we will get very excited to get new clothes. Okay, so the difference is that the clothes that we're going to get from our 8.4 million species of life is going to give us the same problem, the 4 real problems. What are those? Birth, death, old age, and disease. So no matter how advanced you are, how rich you are, how wealthy you are, how intelligent you are, you cannot escape from these 4 real problems. So you'll have that. Okay, all right. So he takes one kind of body and again quits it to take another. Now, how the conception is being carried to another body, just like how air breezes through, crosses through a garden of roses, it carries nice aroma to the next location. If the air goes through a pile of garbage, it's going to carry the filthy smell to the next location. So how are we going to fill the air with the fragrance or the aroma? Are we going to feed it with a nice fragrance, or are we going to feed it with filthy smell, a very bad odor? So it's in our hands. Okay, so in that sense, the life is in our hands. Okay, the next body is in our hands. Okay, next, this living entity, the living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtain a certain type of ear, eye, tongue, nose, and sense of touch. So like I mentioned, let's say I love eating, then I am going to get a body with a great taste of eating. Okay, maybe I will have to hunt and eat, or maybe I'll eat a lot and sleep. Okay, so all my actions is grouped on the characteristics of the body that I'm going to get. So he thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects. So if you desire to serve God, do devotional service, do bhakti, then we will be transported to the spiritual world where we can personally offer our devotional service to Krishna. Right now, what we are doing now is we are practicing the devotional service, sadhana bhakti, bhakti in practice. And then we can go and perform the pure devotional service for Krishna. Okay, so as a first understanding, we need to know that we can influence our next body. Okay, so we have entire life to do it, but we will never know how short or how long our life is. So we need to treat this information as urgent as possible and do changes in our life. Okay, so this is the diagram. Okay, we carry impressions from one body to the next. How do we carry the impressions to the next body? Question. Amarjit Prabhu, how do we carry the impression to the next body? What is instrumental in doing that?
Sorry, Mataji, I was engaged just now.
Okay, so how we carry impressions from one body to the next as the air carries aroma. So which part of the element of this diagram does that work? Carrying the impression from one body to another. From here, can you see?
Yeah, it's the gross body.
Okay, but when we die, we leave the gross body. So what
The
How
soul.
our impression is carried forward to the next body?
Our
Is a
soul.
soul.
Hmm?
Is a soul.
Tadu.
Hmm.
Who were listening?
The mind.
It's just the mind.
The thoughts.
Of the mind.
The subtle body, Mataji.
Subtle body.
Shanti Mataji, can you explain?
Because the subtle body is made of intelligence, mind, and ego.
Okay.
Which was present in that particular birth.
Mm-hmm.
So all the impressions, all the karmic reactions, everything is there. So the soul lives, it carries all this. I think it's written there in the notes as the air carries aromas. So the soul also will carry all this and go to another body. And then in that body, it will have newer impressions, and maybe it will share these impressions according to the level of intelligence and what the mind wants and how the ego is behaving in that new body. And the story goes on and on. And
yes, so the subtle body carries the impression. Okay, all right. So let's move on to this one. Srimad Bhagavatam 6.16.9. I would like somebody to read for us, please. Okay, you need to pay attention to these words here because later I'm going to do an activity to fill in the blanks. Okay. Who can read for us? Guna Mataji.
I read, Mataji.
Shanti Mataji can.
Yeah. The living entity is eternal and imperishable because he actually has no beginning and no end. He never takes birth or dies. He is the basic principle of all types of bodies, yet he does not belong to the bodily category. The living being is so sublime that he is equal in quality to the Supreme Lord. Nonetheless, because he is extremely small, he is prone to be illusioned by the external energy, and thus he creates various bodies for himself according to his different desires.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. So this is basically is a summum bonum of the nature and characteristic of soul. Okay, it's just part of the summary. Okay, not the entire summary, but you can take this as a summary. So take a look on the passage. Okay, the living entity is eternal, imperishable. Okay, it has no beginning and no end, and then he never takes birth or dies. Okay, he doesn't take birth, he doesn't die. Okay, he is the basic principle of all types of body. He is the living force. He's the basis. What else? That he is equal in quality to the Supreme Lord. Okay, this part, how can be so equal in quality to Supreme Lord? Aren't we so incredible? In that sense, are we equal to the Lord in quality? Is that true? Sejauh manakah kenyataan ini benar? Amarjit Prabhu.
I don't think so. It's true. It's not. We are not equal to.
It's not equal in quality. Sejauh manakah?
Equal, Mataji.
Who can explain this?
Is equal simply because we are part and parcel of the Lord.
All right. So we have the Lord's quality. Fantastic,
Yes.
isn't it? Is it? So we can become God?
Cannot.
Why? Why pula? Contradictory pula.
Because we are extremely small. We are just part and parcel of the Lord. So we cannot become the whole, but we are a part. So a part of the whole will still have all the qualities, but it cannot be the whole.
Why?
Quality but quantity.
Yeah, Achyuta Priya Mataji.
Sorry.
I want them to think this group is really good. You just have to give them some time to think and they will come up with the answer. I'm very confident of that. Okay. Yeah, whoever
Mataji.
Yes, Tachaini Mataji, I was about to ask you also.
I think it's because the Paramatma of Krishna stays in our soul. Every soul is there.
Okay.
Every creation is made, whether you are an animal or a bird or a fish or a plant, he lives in the soul.
Yes, as a super soul, he is present in
Yeah,
everybody's
super soul.
body.
That's my understanding.
Okay. So to explain this, right, equal in quality, Krishna has 64 qualities. We may have all the qualities. We may be equal with Krishna in all these qualities. But what makes the difference is that we are small, which means we are not same in terms of quantity. Okay, right? Okay, Matji. Can. Whoever needs to leave, you can leave, okay? So a very good example to illustrate this is that we are a drop of water, whereas Krishna is
ocean.
Yes, so we are the same H2O, just like Krishna is H2O, but we are just one drop and Krishna is the entire ocean. So in that sense, we are one and different. So it is called oneness and different. So achintya beda abeda tattva means same and different. So same in quality, different in quantity. Okay, people sometimes misunderstand that I have all the qualities that God has, therefore I'm God, I can become God, you can become God. So we have this knowledge that we cannot be same as God because we don't have that quantity, even though we have that quality. A father can be very good in a certain thing, maybe a computer work. The child may have inherited some knowledge from the father, but he cannot be equal as the father. So that's it. Okay. What else? And he's yes, see, because he is extremely small, he's prone to be illusioned by the external energy. These are all the influence of the three modes of material nature: the goodness, passion, ignorance. It moves us to do things that we may not want to do. Thus, he creates various bodies according to his different desires or karma. Okay, so a quick activity here. So please try to answer. All right, the living entity is what and what? Anybody remember? Okay, look at this word, nityo. Nityo means nityam. In Tamil is nityam. So how do you translate?
Eternal and imperishable.
Wow, very good. Eternal and imperishable. Because he actually has no. Why is he eternal? What is the meaning of eternal?
No beginning.
No beginning and no end. Very good. Okay. What is another explanation for eternal? He never takes
birth or dies.
Yes, he never takes birth or die. Okay. So what is he? He is what in all the type of bodies?
The basic principle.
Yes, very good. He is the basic principle of all types of body. He is the living cause. Remember, without the driver, the car cannot move. Okay. The living being is so sublime that he is
Equal in quality.
Equal.
It's equal in quality. Wow, very good memory. Oops. Okay, so due to his actions, what does he create in future?
Various bodies.
Various bodies. Okay, based on his, according to his
Different desires.
different desires. Very good. So you have somehow covered the understanding about soul. Okay, now that is the conclusion of the topic today, that we have to understand we are not this body, but we are spirit soul. Okay, so I'm gonna skip this. Okay, I'm gonna skip this. We're just going to watch a video and we will end the class. Okay, I will share the PDF with you all right?
Soulfulness begins by knowing who we are, by knowing who it is who is mindful, by knowing who it is who is the seer, who's the hearer, who is conscious of all things and all beings around it, and in the way that the sun illuminates the universe with light, who illuminates the entire body with consciousness? Who is that? It's the self, the soul. And soulfulness begins by this awareness that we, the soul, are different from both the body and the mind. and that we're different from all the activities of the body and the mind, whether it's past, present, or future. Just meditate on the sky. It's all pervading, and yet it doesn't mix with anything. Similarly, a person in soulfulness, although seated within the body, does not identify with it or its actions. A soulful person is aware that these external instruments are at work, and yet he or she does nothing at all. In this way, the soulful person is never entangled, but remains always aloof. Now let me close by giving a practical meditation on how to cultivate soulfulness. Think of yourself as the driver and your body as a machine, an automobile. In the way that you're always different from the car in which you're seated, be always aware that you're different from your body and its activities. That's soulfulness. And that soulfulness leads to self-realization.
Okay, yeah, so it's 9:35 now. I will share the readings, all I will share, okay? So, any questions? Any questions so far? So is that everything okay? I also quiet. Okay, so if there's no question, then we can call it a night. I will share the PDF. So anybody attended the Bhagavatam yesterday? Chanti Mataji, did you attend? Oh.
Yes, Mataji, I attended.
Okay, okay.
Did you?
No, I couldn't. I was engaged with my boss. We had some discussion.
Okay, I attended until 9 o'clock. And because at 9 o'clock, I had to attend another Zoom meeting. So I'm planning to watch the balance that I missed.
Yeah, I think we should watch.
The class is really good, Mataji.
Yeah, that's my...
I feel like I'm sitting in that forest and listening. Really, it feels like that.
Yeah, it's good, it's good. Yeah, I encourage everybody to join the Bhagavatam class because we wish that we have a Gita Gyan, we have Bhagavatam Gita Gyan, something like that, but that didn't happen. So we come up with this level 3. So it's good that Prabhu is giving Bhagavatam class. So this is the first time we are going chapter, verse by verse, chapter by chapter. So I encourage everybody to attend. Okay, so the first canto will be more philosophical and little technical, but later on it'll become more like a story based. So it will move very nicely, interestingly. So we have to grasp the basics first. So that's important. Okay, so thank you everyone.
Thank you very much, Mataji. Hare Krishna to you.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare
Thank
Krishna,
you,
Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Good night.